Hello, welcome everybody, welcome back. It's the feature for today, and I've decided that something free, something fan made, something for 5e that's compatible, and that's what today is all about. Okay, and we're going to do Sonic the Hedgehog. I know you're thinking, really, Fred, Sonic the Hedgehog? I get it. I get it. But we're covering it because it exists. It's there. It's a pretty good document. So I thought we would cover it for today. I'm going to put up a poll today. Feel free to take part in that poll. Put your feedback in the chat by all means, and we can have a chat with it. I will be talking about it, and I will be showing it to you. For those of you who want to see it, you will get to see it as well. Okay, and of course, down in the description there will be a link to that document as well, so that you can check it out. Okay. Anyway, let's rock into this. So my suggestion is grab some food, some drink. Make sure that you're comfortable, and we'll proceed to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 5e. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about role-playing games, specifically Sonic the Hedgehog. Zonerunners Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a 5e compatible document. It's been there for a while. There's been a few revisions, and I thought it would be nice to actually cover this in a live stream. The idea behind this, and many of the ones that I put forward there where there's free content, when it's fan made, is that I want to get it more exposure. I want people to know about it. So there's only one free fan made Sonic the Hedgehog 5e compatible document that's available out there. And it uses the Dungeons and Dragons 5e rules, obviously. So Zonerunners Sonic the Hedgehog 5e. That is the document we're talking about. So who made it? Cameron Shell, I'm going to get this name really, really butchered, but Shell Litcher is the lead producer, and Glamurnia. So some difficult to pronounce names. I'm assuming somewhere from Europe are credited as developing additional material around this. So those are the people who are key. There is, of course, some illustrators, a couple of illustrators as well. I'm not going to talk quite so much about the illustrators. I'm going to focus more on the actual material that's in the book. So this book is professional, it's high quality, it's got a really good layout and formatting. It's only 11 pages of PDF. It's not a huge document, it's very, very small. The artwork and illustrations are of a very high quality, and they are fitting with being a cartoon character image. So they are very cartoony, but they're still very, very good. There are no maps provided in the supplement. There's no table of contents in this. There's no index. And in some cases it does need it, but because the document is so short, you can kind of get away with having no contents page and no index. There is a brief description of the world of Mobius, which is where your adventures with Sonic the Hedgehog will take place. The new races that have been created for Mobius the world there's some fun ones here. There's some things that you will recognize, okay? The races choices are the armadillo, the badger, the bat, the chameleon, the echidnia, I think it's echidnia, fox, hedgehog, of course, squirrel, urson, which I think is cow, wolf, and then there's a single class archetype provided, designed around the Oath of the Wind. So if you want to play a paladin, you can. Oath of the Wind is one of the options there. Well, the only option there, actually, in terms of what's been developed. There is one new artifact called the Chaos Emerald. There are Chaos powers provided, and Chaos powers offer various things that you can do that are additional to the game, and they act a lot like feats and spells, and they're kind of like a mix of that. There are two adventure options available called Dropping Rings and Racing Against the Clock, which are very fitting for the Sega video game. Next, there is also quite a large list, almost a page full of character drives or goals that can be completed, and it encourages the game master or dungeon master to actually create more of their own that players will have to try to achieve. So it's kind of like when you had milestones and achievements that you could perform in the video game, you can do this also in the tabletop role-playing game when you're using this supplement. This document has been updated a few times, and it looks to me like it will probably continue to be updated. It's hard to know from what I've seen so far, but I suspect that's going to be the case. In any case, there is at least 3 updates for this. So if you found this useful and interesting, wonderful. I want to thank my patrons who support me on Patreon so I can keep providing this kind of information and searching out this sort of material. I want to thank you for listening and watching. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, very, very short. We're going to go straight, very quickly, I'm going to go in and show you. You're late. Fred Hubbard is a patron. Thank you for being here, Fred. So I'm going to go over the document and show you it. It won't take very long. I think we'll get this done pretty quickly. And as I said, the document itself is in the description, so you can access it very, very easily. Okay. So if you want to check it out yourself, you certainly can. But I'm going to go through it and sort of go over what I thought was cool and what was maybe not so great. But again, when it comes to free fan-made supplements, I'm really not that picky. Okay, I'm really not going to be that hard on what they've done, simply because remember, it's free, and remember, it's fan-made, and those are the key things that I think we need to remember. Is like, you can only do so much when you're not actually getting paid for these things. These are not things that people can get paid from making. You know, they're making them for the love, really, and if they're sharing it with the community, even better. But there's no guarantee. Okay, they don't have to do those sorts of things. It's just nice when they do. Right. So this is Stranger Worlds presents Zonerunners. This is the Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, this is one of the reasons why when you come across it, it's the only way you would know it's for Sonic the Hedgehog is from the artwork on the cover page. Now, my understanding is that the artwork is done by Joanna. Is that Joanna Attia? Joanna Attia. I think that's correct. So it's actually quite good. Now, it's like this all the way through. It's really, really well presented, even if it is only 11 pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, just to make it easier so you can see what's going on as I scroll through here. So first of all, as I was mentioning, Mobus, the world that you were dealing with, they give you a very brief rundown of what you're dealing with. You know, what's it like? And it's really just a couple of paragraphs. It's not huge. It's very, very short. So you don't have to learn a lot of information. If you're not familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, that's not an issue. What they also do is they suggest some origins. So the origins of a Mobian can be any of these 8 options. You can roll randomly a d8 to come up with something. An example would be you discover a mysterious portal, or you were exposed to an ancient gene bomb. So there's a couple of options there, and you can roll them up. Also, what they do here is they give you a lot of the different personalized Mobian races, but they are not actually built as such. What they've done is they've said, okay, this is what it is. Okay, a bullfrog in this world is like a grug. Okay, or the crocodile is more like a kobold, and it gives you the source books where you would find that information. So that's quite helpful. Now, that's the stuff that's just really quick, answers some of your questions, and then that's it. But there's actually more. Okay, they actually do have some races they have created, and the armadillo is one of the first ones. So they do sort of discuss like how you'd work out your ability scores. I think the intention is to give them still flexibility, so you've still got some flexibility about how you assign things. So you can increase one of your scores by 2, okay, and another by 1, or you increase 3 different scores by 1. Is that right? One of your scores by 2 and another one by 1, so that comes to a total of, so you basically got 3 points you can put in there somewhere in whatever combination. Okay, So this is very Tasha's cauldron of everything, for those of you who are unsure. Then it sort of breaks down the different types of creatures, but then we go into the armadillo. Now the armadillo can be either medium or small. You're a humanoid. You have a speed of 30 feet. You have natural armor, so your armor class is based at a 17, a base armor class of 17. Your dex modifier doesn't affect that number, so you've just got that, okay? And you can't wear light, medium, or heavy armor, okay? But you can use a shield, which is nice. You have powerful builds, so you have a proficiency in athletics, and you count one size larger than when determining sort of carrying weight and when you have to push, drag, and lift something. Rolling spin, you can curl up into a ball by using 5 feet of movement until you uncurl. A ranged attack rolls against you have disadvantage, so that's kind of cool. That's to make it harder for you to hit. The idea being that the armadillo has an armored surface, probably. And you have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and the only action you can take is a bonus action to accelerate or uncurl. So it's really designed to sort of ensure that you don't get hit while you're moving around. Okay, Zone Runner. As a bonus action, you can instantly accelerate forward a few number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking an attack of opportunity. You can do so only if your speed is greater than 0 on your turn. So in other words, you have to have some movement left. You can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish that long rest. So that's your armadillo. Most of the work, I think, in this has been built around, as I said, the new races that they've come up with, and the chaos powers, or the powers that you get. I think the vast majority of this is built around that. There's one page that covers the new archetype. All right, so we have the badger. So you are humanoid. You're either medium or small. You choose. You have a walking speed of 30 feet. So they've kind of made it pretty much standard. This is very much what Wizards of the Coast does nowadays. Cunning artisan. As part of a short rest, you can harvest bones and hide from a slain beast, construct, dragon, monstrosity, or plant creature of size small or larger to create one of the following items: a shield, a club, a javelin, 1d4 darts, a blowgun needle. So to use this trait, you need to have a blade such as a dagger, or the appropriate artisan tools such as leatherworking or woodcrafting tools. So kind of interesting. So you can make your own weapons if you wanted to. Never disarmed. You are proficient with the improvised weapons, and the damage die for your improvised weapons attack is a d6 rather than a d4. Next, bestial instincts. You have proficiency in one of the following skills, so you get to choose just one: acrobatics, athletics, intimidation, or survival. So that's our badger. Next, we have the bat. A nice piece of artwork. The bat is humanoid. You can pick either medium or small as your character size. You have a speed of 30 feet, pretty standard. Flight. Thanks to your wings, you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed. You can't use this flying speed if you're wearing medium or heavy armor. This is just to make sure that we don't have heavily armored individuals flying around casting spells, more than likely. Okay, echolocation. While you are not deafened, you can use your bonus action to gain blind sight until the end of your turn out to a range of 30 feet. You can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. If you're going to make a bat creature that you can use and it's got racial features, I don't know that I makes much sense to have it recharge. I think it would have been better to just say, okay, you have blind sight as long as you're not deafened up to 30 feet, and just be done with it. I know that would be very strong, but you are a bat. Okay, next. Treasure sense. You are capable of pinpointing by scent alone the location of precious metals and stones, such as coins, gems, within 60 feet of you. That isn't protected from divine magic. This sense doesn't tell you anything about the condition or worth. So, that is our bat. I don't know I'm not quite sure I understand the treasure sense that the bat has. Maybe that's just part of the lore of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not sure. maybe somebody else knows. Okay, chameleon traits. Humanoid, you can pick medium or small. You have a walking speed of 30 feet, very standard. Dark vision up to 60 feet, so we know how dark vision works. Spider climb, so you have a climbing speed equivalent to that of your common walking speed. In addition, upon reaching 3rd level, you can move up and down and across vertical surfaces and upside down on ceilings, leaving your hands free. Okay, so it extends. So you've got spider climb, and the spider climb gets a little bit more powerful as you level up. Okay, camouflage. You have proficiency in stealth. Snagging tongue. As an action, you can retrieve an item with your tongue weighing 10 pounds or less that isn't being worn or carried from as far as 15 feet away. Okay, cool. So we've got a snagging tongue. We've got the slippery tongue. Lovely. Chromatic disguise. As a bonus action, you can turn invisible until the start of your next turn, or until you attack, make a damage roll, or force a creature to make a saving throw. So it's trying to cover attacks and casting spells, right? To a certain degree, it's pretty much covered almost all of them. There might be a few occasions where that might not be the case, but there might be a few spells that are utility that you could cast that you could get away with not worrying about it being lost. Things that come to mind is something like Mage Hand. You could probably cast Mage Hand and still be invisible. Once you use this trait, you cannot do so again until you complete a short or long rest. So you get one use of it, and then it's short or long rest time. Okay. The echidna. I think it's the echidna. I think it's the echidna. I don't know what an echidna is really. So somebody will tell me, hopefully. You're humanoid. You can be either small or medium, and you have the speed of 30 feet. Again, these all seem to be exactly the same. Is it archaic? Is it archaic instincts? You have proficiency in one of the following skills: Arcana, History, Perception, or Religion. Treasure sense. Again, we've got this treasure sense thing going on. I'm not sure what this is all about. You're capable of pinpointing. So I've talked about the treasure sense feature before, so I won't go and talk and say it all over again or read it out. Gliding fall. When you fall, you use your reaction to slow your descent. Your rate of descent slows to 60 feet per round. Okay. And you land on your feet, which is kind of nice. So gliding fall. Shovel claws. You have a climbing speed equivalent to that of your common walking speed. Okay, so we can climb all right. In addition, you can burrow through a 5-foot cube of loose earth, depositing the soil 5 feet away. Okay. All right, so you can dig. That's the deal. Okay, and we have the fox. So the fox, again, humanoid, small or medium, you get to pick 30 feet of movement. Bushy tail. You can use your tail to make an unarmed strike. Really? We can strike with our unarmed tail. An unarmed tail. Of course it's unarmed. You have, if you hit, the strike deals 1d4 plus your strength modifier bludgeoning damage. I would have thought fluffy damage. Would it not be fluffy damage? Immediately after you hit a creature with a melee attack, as part of your attack action on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to push that target with your tail. The target must be within 5 feet of you and no more than one size larger than you, unless it succeeds on a strength saving throw against your DC, which is going to be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier. Okay, and you can push them up to 10 feet away. Okay, all right. Moving down, let's see what else we've got here. Mechanical Savant. You know the mending cantrip. All right, so starting at 3rd level, you can cast Identify spell with this trait without requiring material components. Well, that's quite strong because, remember, I think you have to have a diamond worth at least 100 gold pieces. Once you cast a spell with this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast it using any spell slot you have at 1st level or higher. Okay, so this is very, very standard. We see this a lot. Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma is your casting ability for these spells when you cast them with this trait. Now, it's not going to matter because there's no you don't need to worry about whether you're using intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, because mending and identify just work. So it's not really that important to have that section there. So yeah, it won't have any real mechanical effect. Bestial instincts. You have proficiency in one of the following skills: acrobatics, athletics, intimidation, or survival. I feel like this has happened quite a lot. Bestial instincts, I'm not going to keep reading that out. I think it's exactly the same for all of them. So that's the fox. The hedgehog. For those of you who want to play a hedgehog, you're going to be Sonic. Humanoid, medium, small, 35 feet. So the hedgehog gets to move faster, which I find highly amusing considering how slow they move across the road when I've seen them. Anyway, nimble. You can move through the space of any creature that is a size larger than yours. Okay, all right, that's fine. Your body is covered in thick spines and quills. So this is the spiny quills. When you start your turn grappling a creature or grappled by a creature, it takes 1d6 piercing damage. So do not grapple the hedgehog. That seems very obvious, but cool. Rolling spin. Here we go. You can curl into a ball by using 5 feet of movement until you uncurl. Ranged attacks against you have a disadvantage. So this is kind of like the armadillo feature, right? You have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and the only action you can take is a bonus action to accelerate or uncurl. So this is very much like the the armadillo feature that was just talked about a little while ago. Zonerunner. So I think the Zonerunner is almost identical to what I've just talked about. There's a Zonerunner for, I think, the armadillo as well. Bonus action to accelerate forward, and the number of feet you move is equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking attacks of opportunity, as long as you don't have a speed of 0. So yeah, this is the armadillo feature again. So Zonerunner comes up a few times. There we go. There's Sonic. Moving down, we have a couple of different squirrels, and then we're heading into the bear. Yes, you can play a bear, and you don't need to be a druid. You can play a bear, and you don't have to be a druid. Who would have guessed? Anyway, squirrel. Humanoid, you're going to be small in this case. You have speed of 30 feet, and you have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. Well, I'm not surprised. Screwball squirrel. You can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative roll. Oh, cool blummy. Okay, that's quite strong. Bestial instincts, which is basically you pick one skill, and it's acrobatics, athletics, intimidation, survival. We've seen this one before. So if we were playing a grounded squirrel, you get bushy tail. Now, bushy tail is the same as far as I can tell, it works the same way as the squirrel's feature. Not the squirrel's feature, the fox's feature. The fox has a bushy tail as well. Yep. And then flying squirrel, you have a gliding fall, and gliding fall we've discussed already. We have the Urson traits, and I'm assuming that the Urson is representing cows. I think that's what we're talking about here. So humanoid, you're medium sized, 30 feet of movement, and you can climb 30 feet. Oh, it's not a cow then, maybe. It's a bear. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it must be a bear. Claws. You have claws that can use to make unarmed strikes. So when you hit with them, it's 1d6 plus your strength modifier slashing damage. Seems pretty obvious. Instead of bludgeoning damage. Okay, great. Long-limbed. When you make a melee attack on your turn, your reach for that attack is 5 feet greater than normal. So, okay, so it's kind of like it's a little bit like the bugbear, isn't it? A little bit like the bugbear. Okay, so you can be a black bear. So you get dark vision, you get sneaky. So basically you're going to be able to sneak around. You're proficient in stealth skill in addition. Without squeezing, you can move through a space large enough for a small creature. So you can actually squeeze without having to squeeze. Well, that's nice. Grizzly bear. If you want to be a grizzly bear. Powerful build. You have proficiency in athletic skill, and you count as one size larger when carrying weight. Okay, so basically, yeah, we've seen this one before. Makes it easier to carry stuff. Panda bear. Urson serenity. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed or frightened condition on yourself. Okay, all right. Polar bear. Hyperborean. You have resistance to cold damage and you are naturally adapt to cold climates. Well, that seems very appropriate. Okay, the wolf. What are the wolf's traits if you want to play a wolf? If you're wondering, Sonic the Hedgehog, you're probably not going to have humans involved. They're all animal creatures. They're all animal races, okay? All right, so you're going to be humanoid. You can be medium or small for a wolf, and you have a speed of 35 feet, so a little bit faster than normal. A bite, so you have fangs that you can use to make an unarmed strike, and when you attack with them, the strike deals 1d6 plus your strength modifier, piercing damage, instead of bludgeoning damage. What I kind of like about, if you're going to give somebody a unarmed natural weapon attack, it's always frustrating when you see 1d4. Because the idea being is that you would use your natural weapon more than using an actual weapon, like a sword or a mace or something like that. So I think it's appropriate to say it's a 1d6. I think that's quite good. I think that's smart. Anyway, bestial instincts. Seen this before. You get one skill from the 4 that are available. Howl of the Pack. As a bonus action, you can let out a howl at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Until the start of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those enemies who could hear you. Really? Wow. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses on finishing a long rest. So they haven't made it infinite, but you do get, and there's quite a good benefit, actually. What do you got here, Fred? I'd give polar bear advantage on stealth and snow. I think that would be fair too. I think that seems quite appropriate, Fred. Absolutely. Okay, so this is the subclass. This is Oath of the Wind. And the tenets are listed here. Be fast, be free, be fierce. I'm not going to read them out. You get some additional spells. So 3rd level, Expeditious Retreat. Makes sense. Zephyr Strike. I'm not too sure about Zephyr Strike. Level 5, it's Blur and Gust of Wind. Level 9, Haste, Thunderstep. These all seem very appropriate. Level 13 is Freedom of Movement and Storm Sphere. And level 17, Control Winds and Steel Wind Strike, which I'm not very familiar with. Okay, alright, let's keep going. So your Channel Divinity. You get Sonic Wind and you get Homing Attack. So when you take the Oath at 3rd level, you gain the following 2 Channel Divinity abilities. Okay, so Sonic Wind is, as a bonus action, you can call on the Howling Winds to guide you. For the next minute, you increase your base movement speed by 20 feet. Okay, that's pretty good. Gain immunity to falling damage. Okay, immunity. Wow. And can add a bonus equal to your charisma modifier to any strength athletics check or dexterity acrobatics check that you make. That's a reasonable Channel of Divinity feature at level 3. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty reasonable. Homing Attack. Immediately after you deal damage to a creature within your Divine Smite feature, you can use your Channel Divinity as a bonus action to move up to half your movement speed towards another creature you can see and make an attack. Okay, so this is giving you another attack and you get to move as well, half your speed. It's pretty strong. Okay, next. Aura of Velocity. So this is at level 7. While you're not incapacitated, you and the creatures of your choice within 10 feet of you can move along vertical surfaces and across liquids without falling during the movement. Oh, okay, really? When you reach 18th level in this class, the aura affects creatures within 30 feet of you. So you can move up vertical surfaces and along liquid. And it's an aura and it affects you and other creatures. Aura of Velocity. That's rather amusing, actually. It's like having walk on water and spider climb for your party. I'm not sure why I understand this, but anyway, it's Dungeons and Dragons, right? Okay, Free Spirit, level 15. Your long and high jump distances are doubled, and standing up from prone does not cost you any movement. Moreover, you add your charisma modifier to your initiative rolls at level 15. as a level 15 feature, it doesn't, I mean, it does a lot of different things. It's not combat, really. It's not really combat related, which it shouldn't really be at level 15 anyway. But is it a level 15 feature? The charisma modifier to your initiative is pretty good. You can double your distance for your long jump and your high jump, which you're hardly ever going to use. Standing up from prone doesn't cost you any movement. So, I mean, it certainly, in terms of the flavour and what they're trying to go for, it makes sense. They've tried to give you lots of different things to go with it. Okay, all right. Next, Knight of the Wind, level 20. You embody what it is to be free. You can use your action to gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Okay, interesting. What do you get for 1 minute at level 20? You are immune to thunder damage. Level 20. Yeah, okay. I can live with that. Immunity to something at level 20 seems reasonable. You can take the dash or disengage action as a bonus action on each of your turns. Well, okay. Yes. Sure. When you are subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage. It's like having evasion. You just had evasion now. If you succeed on the saving throw, and only take half damage if you fail. Okay. Right, so that's basically evasion. It's mostly combat. I mean, level 20, they're kind of on the right track, I'd say. I wouldn't say that it's super fantastic. It feels like a combination of lower level features bundled together. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you successfully finish a long rest. So you only get 1 use per day. All right, okay. I'm paying attention. Next, new artifact. This is what I was talking about. We have 1 new artifact, the Chaos Emerald. Chaos Emeralds are ancient relics that pose magical properties. Each emerald fits into the hand and contains unlimited amounts of highly potent and powerful chaos energies that are rumored to grant life. They appear in the following colours. So it's a Chaos Emerald, and it's either green. I thought emeralds were always green, but maybe I'm wrong. Green, red, blue, yellow, purple, turquoise, and white, using a Chaos Emerald. While carrying an emerald, a creature can use its action to do one of the following. So what are the things that we get? Mystic Conduit. Is this what we're talking about here? When you cast a spell of first level or higher, you can siphon chaotic energy from the emerald to empower your magic. The spell takes effect without requiring the use of an appropriate spell slot. All right, all material components. So basically, you don't use up a spell slot when you have this one. Okay. Control chaos. You temporarily exert control over the concepts of time and space. Really? Okay, aside from yourself. So the flow of time comes to a brief halt for all creatures aside from yourself. For what you perceive to be approximately 6 seconds. So it's really 1 round. You can move and act normally, but take no additional actions. Once a Chaos Emerald has been used, its colour fades and cannot be used again until the next dawn. The Chaos Emeralds can never be destroyed, although they can be momentarily shattered. Each emerald has an armor class of 20, a single hit point, and immunity to all damage except that which is dealt by chaos power. Oh, okay. Emeralds are reduced to 1d4 plus 1 shards once they are fractured. Returning these individual shards together restores the Chaos Emerald. This is why we're going to be using mending a lot, alright? Mending's going to come in, I'm sure, at some point on this one. So Chaos Emeralds appear to be a modified ion stone. Yeah, possibly that's what we're going on here. Let's keep going. We're almost at the end as it happens. Dreamcaster. While all 7 Chaos Emeralds are in the grasp of a single creature, They can use that action to achieve perfect chaos, cloaking them in an amber aura of chaos for the following minutes. So, for the duration, you are resistant to all damage. Oh my gosh. Have advantage on all ability checks and attack rolls and saving throws. Additionally, you can cast a wish spell once without expending a spell slot. Right, okay, so you must have the ability to cast it, I guess. Once the Chaos Emeralds have been used in this way, their colour fades as they are magically spirited across the realm to unforeseeable locations. It cannot be used again until 7 days have passed. Okay, all right. So they're kind of like a renewable resource, but they also get expended as well. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm a little bit worried about that. If I think that I'm going to hurt my voice too much, because I'm going to be playing a game today, Beck Me, or the basic Dungeons and Dragons on Wally DM's channel. I'm trying not to sort of get myself hurt my voice, but I'm speaking a lot. Chaos powers. So what do these chaos powers do? So there's an example: Power Ring, Chaos Drive, Legendary. So they give you some examples of what they are. Using chaos powers as an action while holding a magical item which radiates chaos, a character may declare the power they wish to use and attempt a chaos check. So you add a bonus to the result of rolling a d20 as shown on the table. Okay, so that's the bonus. Okay, so that's the bonus you use. So this is what these bonuses are for. Immediate success. That's the artifact level 1. Okay, I see. If the roll is failed, there is no effect. If the roll is successful, can consult a particular chaos power and determine the results that will occur. Alright, I'm not going to read all of that out. So this is where we have this feat, new feat, chaos control. And you need to have the ability prerequisite to use at least one chaos power. Alright, so, okay. And what are these things? A list of chaos powers. So, Arrow Light, DC 15, Fire an Arrow of Shining Light, Chaotic Burst, DC 10, Displace creatures around you, Chaotic Lance, DC 15, Release a barrage of energy, Chaotic Rift, DC 20, Tear open untold energies. Tear open untold energies, I'm not sure what that means. Overload, which is a DC 20, Unleash Chaotic Forces. These seem very narrative in their placement. Okay. Roaming Chaos, DC 15, Place Hidden Motes of Chaos. Alright. Shield of Light, DC 10, Construct a Barrier of Radiance. So these seem very narrative. What do we got here, though? Let's go down. And so they do actually explain what each of them do. So we do have the powers here, and I'll go over them and explain what they... So they do look very much like spells here at this point. That combo power that you use, then have to find stones again. Yeah, it's a combo power, and even if you're not using the combo in a combination, you know, those emeralds, like chaos emeralds, that are going to not be usable. You have to go and find more of them. Okay, so let's see if I can read through this without losing my voice. Arrow of Light, and you release an arrow of shining light which strikes one creature you can see within range. Assuming the power is successful, the target takes 66 radiant damage. Okay, you then may choose to teleport it to an unoccupied space. Okay, adjacent to the arrow's chosen path. Well, that's an interesting feature. So do damage and teleport. There's a bit of a combination going on. Chaotic Burst. So cast it on yourself. Assume the power is successful. Choose a number of creatures you can see within range and alternate each of their locations. Oh, really? The movement does not provoke attacks of opportunity from hostile creatures. So you can shift their position, basically. You then may choose to vanish as though invisible, and you remain hidden until the end of your next turn. So there's a combination. We've got two different things going on here. Is this always the case? Chaotic Lance. Its range is 60 feet. So you drive 2d4 arcs of chaotic energy towards a number of creatures you can see within range. Assume the power is successful. Okay, so there's a few different. So you could have anything from 2 to 8 different arcs of energy being launched out. Assume the power is successful. Target takes 2d6 force damage and cannot move until the start of their next turn. So they take force damage and they can't move. And there could be more than one of these. This is very strong. Okay, alright. Chaotic Rift. Tearing open a rift between the worlds, you expose creatures to untold chaotic energies. Assume the power is successful. Choose. So that's why we have those DCs. There's a DC class you have to hit when you're rolling for these things. So you choose 1d4 plus 1. So a 4-sided dice plus 1 of creatures you can see within range. Each creature of your choice is stunned until the end of your next turn. Really? You can stun a bunch of creatures? Alright. Overload. You unleash a wave of radiating chaotic energies which strike against creatures of your choice within range. Assume the power is successful. Each target of your choice takes 4d8 force damage and falls prone. You may then choose to teleport to an unoccupied space adjacent to a creature within range. The chaos spreads around corners. Okay, so cover's not going to be very helpful. And destroys non-magical objects that are not being worn or carried. Alright. So that overload's pretty strong. And it's a radius 30. Okay, that's a fair dinkum. Alright, let's keep going. Roaming Chaos. So assume the power is successful, so you get your DC 15 sorted out. You obscure a mot of you obscure a mot of chaotic energy at a point within range. I don't understand that. Any time within the following 10 minutes, you may choose to unleash the power of this mot. Okay. Each target takes 8d6 force damage and is pushed 15 feet from the mot, after which the mot disappears. During the course of these 10 minutes, you may choose to move the mot to an unoccupied space within 15 feet of the original location. The chaos spreads around corners and destroys non-magical objects that are not worn or carried. Okay, so yeah, I'm starting to get the gist of it. Last one here, Shield of Light. You construct a barrier of radiance ensnaring a single target you can see within range, which is up to 60 feet. Yep. Assume the power is successful. You may then choose to forcefully move the creature, move the target, should I say, to an unoccupied space within range. If the target would strike a creature, the target and what it is strikes takes 4d6 bludgeoning damage. Good Lord. If the target would strike a creature, target and what? Very confusing sentence there. I'm not quite sure I understand what they're trying to communicate there. Anyway, so these are the adventure options. This is dropping rings, basically within a character who collects golden rings and replace standard coinage. So gold rings replace standard coinage. So instead of gold coins, you have gold rings. And when you are reduced to 0 hit points, but not killed outright, you may choose to sacrifice your cache of rings to drop to 1 hit point instead. So no matter how many rings you have, you can sacrifice all of your gold rings, which is equivalent to gold coins, really. Not just some of them, but all of them, to instead not die, but to be on 1 hit point instead. It's very clever, actually. It suddenly makes the idea of having gold coins in a fantasy game much more useful if you have a game where it's very deadly, but 5e's not that deadly. Not unless you're playing with somebody who's cranking things up. Okay, interesting concept though. This is very much like the game, isn't it not? Okay, the video game that is. Alright, next, Race Against the Clock. Dungeon masters who wish to truly challenge their players may take interest in this option. Consider using an hourglass or other timing device. So this is real time at the table. Oh no. Here we go. Characters may only have so long to escape the collapsing ruins or board the ship. Alternatively, whenever the clock would strike 0, consider adding an additional complication to the task before flipping the hourglass over once again. So they're encouraging you to use whatever the goal or quest that you have for your players. The game master or dungeon master is encouraged to have a timer, real time, to play through, not game time. This is a little bit like Shadow Dark. This is quite clever, but this was developed before Shadow Dark, so quite interesting. Now here's an interesting feature which looks kind of useless to you, but I don't think it is. I'm going to put a lozenge in my mouth because my voice is really starting to whack out right now. Right. So this is character drives. Choose 4 drives when you build your character. When you fulfill a chosen drive, strike it out and gain inspiration. So by completing these drives or goals, you gain inspiration where you could have advantage or get rid of disadvantage. Cool. When your 4 drives are all struck out, choose 4 new drives to follow. So this is actually trying to give you small goals to try to achieve. If a drive is not featured on this list, work with your dungeon master to create a new drive. So they have given you a large list that players could use. These, you complete these, you get inspiration. I do like the idea, although I would be inclined to go with inspiration is roll a 10-sided dice and add that rather than having advantage or getting rid of disadvantage. I think players ultimately like the idea more of rolling another dice, like rather than rolling 2 20-sided dice, being able to take a 20-sided dice and then add a dice number from your 10-sided dice often will probably work better. So what do you got here, Fred? You can make 5e more deadly, counterspell, healing, word, and have creatures keep hitting PCs when they are down. Yes, you certainly can. I'm very much aware, Fred. Been playing the game a long time. Remember, part of the beta test for D&D Next and the alpha play test, so I've been playing it from the very get-go. Okay, so here's some of these drives which I would consider to be character goals or quests, small ones, little itty-bitty things. So here are some examples here. Effortlessly win a foot race. Oh, really? So you have a race on foot. Destroy one of the Eggman's creations. Escape from military pursuit in style. I don't know what that means. Befriend a helpless animal. I'm starting to like this list a lot more. Save a village from Eggman's creations. Prevent a Chaos Emerald from being stolen. Uncover an ancient ruin through thought. Okay. Uncover an ancient ruin thought lost to time. Travel across an entire zone on foot. Gather all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Amass a hoard of gold rings. So what is classified as a hoard? I guess that'll be up to the game master. Pull off an insane flight maneuver. Protect wild animals from harm. Take a photograph of a famous location. Is there a camera involved here? Discover a secret passageway. Oh. Lead an army into battle. Create a clever nickname for an enemy. So here we go. All right. Defeat your arch nemesis in battle. Sample the cuisine of a village. Travel to a mysterious place. Break your own personal record. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay. Destroy one of Eggman's factories. Defeat an enemy all by yourself. Okay. Battle atop a massive airship. Retrieve a powerful magic item. Invite your rival to join your team. Really? Completely redesign your costume. Sorry. It's funny. This is really, really entertaining. I'm going to read them all out. Relive a past adventure with an old enemy. Gamble away all your gold rings in a casino. Stop someone from being irritable. Really? Explore and escape a labyrinth. Ride an aircraft from the outside. Okay. That seems like, so you're going to be sitting on the plane. Craft a mechanical contraption. Learn about a extinct culture. Oh, that's very interesting. Have a conversation with a robot. I'm liking this more and more. Choose between good and evil. Oh. Battle against a giant beast. Destroy a chaos emerald. Explore an abandoned research factory. Help rebuild a village after an attack. Change sides at the last moment. Oh dear. That sounds like it's trouble. Join forces with enemies to battle against a great foe. Snowboard somewhere without a board. How do you snowboard without a board? Save a friend from an attack. Look, some of these are quite, I don't know what to go to deal with them, but some of them are really quite clever. And I mean, if you could probably take these and sort of port them over to your own fantasy game, giving, you know, your players a couple of very specific goals they have to achieve for their character that relate to their character. I think that's quite clever, actually. And then, of course, we have the credits at the end, where everybody who's worked on this product is hopefully covered and discussed. That last little bit was really, really clever. That was really clever. So this product started in 2021, and it's been updated 3 times. And so hopefully at some point maybe it gets updated again in 2023, but I don't know at this present time if that's going to be the case. There are obviously 3 versions at this present time, and we have the newest version as far as I know. I haven't been able to find a newer version other than this one. Well, that was Sonic the Hedgehog. Very, very surprised. I Yeah, that list of goals is really useful, Fred? I'm really impressed. I think it shows a really good understanding of what a role-playing game should be like. You always want a goal that everybody's pursuing. But if you can have goals that are going to work within your own campaign, that are very specific to characters, people like that sort of thing. And as long as those goals aren't going to take them off on some sort of tangent away from the main quest, they can do them along the way. Great. And they're all very role-play-y too. They're not, most of them aren't smash a monster or kill a monster or beat a monster to death or anything like that. So I really like those. They're quite good. What else you got here? Give enemies death saves using healing. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You can give your monsters healing. You can give them death saving throws. Death saving throws really don't work for a monster unless there's somebody who can heal the monster still in the battle. Otherwise, it's not going to work very well. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this live stream so that I've got time to get organized for the next one. I'm going to give you a link to where I will be very shortly. We'll be playing a game that we've already started. It will be Back Me or Basic Dungeons and Dragons. There's only 3 of us playing because we could only wrangle up 3 people who wanted to do it. And it is, I think it would be classified as part 3, but it's not called part 3 at present. It's just called Kill Bagel or Kill Bagel. So I'll drop that in now into the chat. So if you're interested in coming and seeing me, now who's going to be there? Well, as it happens, AJ Pickett will be one of the players. I will be one of the players. I will be playing Nutella. Mr. Welsh or Glenn will be there as well. Yeah. Famous last words. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll be fine. We've got backup characters. We've planned. We know what we're doing. You know, let's get real. If I had to have some team ups, AJ Pickett and Mr. Welsh or Glenn, probably the right people to have by my side. So I'm sure we'll be fine. So prepare, cook, and survive. Hello, how are you? This is brilliant. Sonic 5e supplement, and a lot of stuff in there has relevance to the game and cartoon. Yes, it does. And I think you can probably use some of it over in your non-Sonic the Hedgehog games as well. Are you packing your suitcase, prepare, cook, and survive? Well, I'm glad you were able to watch. I am aware that this is not going to have a huge viewership, which is fine. What I will be doing is 3 people is enough for an adventure. That's what we decided, yeah. Otherwise, we would have had to can it. So we'll be fine. So what I will probably do is I will release a video that I did with Chris Dayas talking about the impact of Baldur's Gate 3 for those of you who are interested. It's a long video. It's an hour and a half talking about a lot of different things. I'll probably release that tomorrow. Okay? It's ready to go. Chris has already released it on his channel. I've given him a few days to get some views on it, and I will release it on my channel for those of you who are interested in listening to us natter about and rant about various things. I don't really go into a Fred angry rant with this video that I'll put up tomorrow, so you won't have to tolerate that sort of nonsense. I'm sure you appreciate that. Do you like Sonic the Hedgehog? Yes, 50%. No, 37%. So you guys didn't stay here long, I'm imagining. Just watching, 12%. Okay, out of 8 votes. Right, so this is where I need to go, because if I don't, I will lose my voice, and I'm going to need it, because I'm going to be playing Nutella in basic Back Me Dungeons and Dragons very shortly. So, hey, I want to say thank you to everybody who's watched today, taking part in the poll. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to all of my patrons, and specifically I want to say a huge thank you to Fred Hubber for keeping the chat alive, because really the vast majority of it has been from Fred Hubber, and I do appreciate that fact. And also thank you to Prepare, Cook, and Survive. It's nice to have somebody to chat to. I know I've talked a lot for the last hour. I'm obviously going to need to have a bit of a rest for the next hour before I have to do this all over again. But come and watch me, Wally, AJ Pickett, and Mr. Welsh play through some old school Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe there'll be some nice carnage along the way. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours, and hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. I believe you, Fred. I believe you.